Okay, as promised, I'm going to do a quick video on how to do a gathered, like a draping sort of bit on a front. So what I have is a pattern that I'm working on right now for one of my dancers. And what I want to do is trace off the pattern without seam allowance. So you can see I've traced it on the sewing lines. And this is just a cropped little top that she's wearing, and she wants to have like a mesh drapey bit over the top. So I've traced this off like that, and then I'll move this out of the way and always mark the center front so you know this is not the center front, because when you cut it out sometimes it can look the same and you'll end up with a really weird looking front if you use this as the center front. So what you want to do is draw lines where you want to add the drapey bits. So I want the drapey bits to go from the shoulder to the bottom. And you can put as many or as few as you like in here. Spreading out evenly is typically better than just one and then spreading. Okay, so before you cut this apart, number your pieces so you know where they go, because once you cut this apart it becomes lots of little strips. Okay, so I'm going to cut this out. I'm going to show you a couple different options. Let's cut it out first. Okay. Should have cut this out at the time. Okay, I'm almost done. Okay. All right, so we have options. All right, we have this piece. So if we just want pleats at the bottom and the shoulder to be the same size, like we don't want to add any fullness to the shoulder, and sometimes you don't because it makes it really bulky in some designs. If we wanted to do that, we could cut through here, cut almost to the point there. Let's see. And this is why I said it's good to label your pieces, because once you cut them apart, you're like, I don't know what I've got. So if we just wanted to add volume to, oh, you would tape this down and then spread it apart. All right, if you just wanted to add pleats here along the underbust seam, you would leave this intact and you would cut this closer to the edge. Right now it's not cut all the way. You want to keep the point there, but not like a ½ inch like I have there. So that would lay flat. And you can spread this as much or as little as you want. If you want a whole lot of volume, you can spread it really far. If you just want to add a little bit, you can spread it not as far. And then what you would do, oops, you would not make a mess like I'm doing. Okay, you would either tape it down onto a new piece of paper, or you can put a piece of paper over it. You guys just got to make sure everything's like lined up. And then you would trace, and then you would add seam allowance. Okay, but let's say we want pleats in the shoulder, like we want to have lots of gathering going all the way down. All right, so here's what we would do. First you gotta cut all these pieces apart, and now you'll see what I mean when I say there's like little bitty pieces. Okay, so first things first, you want to draw a line. Okay, doesn't matter, it just needs to be a line. All right, And then we're gonna spread, oops, see? That's why you label them. We're gonna spread 1, and then that's 5, 2. Now I do suggest do not add like inches, like an inch in between each piece in the shoulder, or you will end up with so much bulk that you won't know what to do with yourself. And you'll be frustrated trying to get this lined up, sewn together. Okay, so we put this on here, like that. And now you can see it's sort of even. Well, they're sort of even, like that. But let's say what we really want is we want more volume down here because there's not so much volume up there. So you would just rotate these. Oops, and hopefully they don't stick to your finger. You would just rotate these like this. You can do it this way if you want to. And then you can see there's a lot more volume here. And for mine goes straight to this point, to the center front point. So you could even cut this off, just extend this line right here. Oops. And make this a straight line instead of having, because you could do it that way. It's just a question of what you want your design to look like. But I want 2 pieces of mesh on the front meeting at the center front. So what I would do is just extend that line a little bit and get rid of this bit right here. So once you get all your pieces spread out, you just tape everything down, which I'm not going to take the time to do all of them. I'll just put a piece there. And then you will add a seam allowance to this. You can also put a piece of paper over top of this and just trace it instead of having all these little bits on top of your pattern piece. But it still works even if you don't mind all these little bits hanging around. So you're going to add seam allowance to everything. The only thing I can tell you, if you're using mesh, you might want to shrink this bottom line just a bit, because the mesh stretches more than the Lycra. And so what happens sometimes is when you put it on top of Lycra, it just sort of bulges out a little bit. So if you take a little bit of length away, it'll make it fit nice and tight and not be baggy, because most of the time that's not what you want. If you want it baggy, you can go ahead and just make this where it is. Or you can make it like this for starters and then do a fitting and be like, okay, well, this is too baggy, or, maybe it'll be perfect. Who knows? Anyway, that's what you need to do to add a drape, and I hope this is helpful.